What's up guys, Dr. Beau here, and today we are talking all about shin splints.
How can I help you today?
Hey Dr. Beau, question for you. I have started working out, running more, really kicking my butt into high gear as the new year is upon us, trying to lose weight, but I gotta tell you, I'm experiencing some pain in the front lower portion of my legs, especially after I go for some long runs. What do I do? All right, guys, so let's have a quick little chat about something called shin splints. Now, actually, it's not a shin splint by any means, but if I told you it was a tear to the tibialis anterior muscle, you would look at me like, what? So, with that being said, let's kind of talk a little about what is going on so you have a better understanding as far as what is going to take place and how you heal and fix and deal with and manage your shin splints. So what shin splints really is, and I've got my handy dandy little 3D4 medical app here with me, is this is a foot, this is a right foot actually, sorry, I'll get it out of the light there, and you can see that this muscle right there that I touch, if I can get it to light up a little bit there, is called your tibialis anterior muscle. Matter of fact, you find your tibialis anterior, there it goes as it lights up there. You find your tibialis anterior by going down your hand down the front of your shin bone. So if I put my right leg up and I go down the front of my shin bone and just to the outside, the lateral side, bring your toe up and hold your toe and feel that shin bone. That is called your tibialis anterior. And the motion that the tibialis anterior does is it helps with toe liftoff. Matter of fact, if you hurt your back, the nerve that goes down and innervates that tibialis anterior, the test that we do is by having the patient lift their big toe and their foot up, and we apply resistance trying to get that nerve and that muscle to fire. Now, why am I telling you this? Because when we get back to exercise, especially when we get back to running, we typically see that the tibialis anterior muscle becomes very tight as it's being used a lot more than it has been in the past, and we can develop something called shin splints. Now, what shin splints are is simply this. The muscle that we talked about was the tibialis anterior. Let's say it's this guy, and the shin bone comes down, the tibia comes right down the front, and it sits right next to it. Well, with repeated running and exhaustion of that muscle, that tibialis anterior muscle becomes very tight and actually starts to pull off. It pulls off, it avulses off of the front of that tibia, and then it starts to have pain, discomfort, and anytime that you bring your leg up or down or run, it causes a lot of issues, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is what shin splints are. Now, let's talk about what you do about it and how we diagnose it. Now, the way to properly quote-unquote diagnose shin splints is actually through x-ray or CT or through MRI. However, no one's gonna spend thousands of dollars, typically, unless you're a professional athlete, taking the time to diagnose it that way. The best thing to do for shin splints is simply to just treat them. Now, how do we do that? So the very first thing we want to do is give you a couple of days off of your routine. If you're just back to exercise, you've been working really hard this past month, really getting back into it, and these muscles starting to tighten up, we're going to give you a few days off, and we're going to have you ice the affected area. Now, you can typically, with your hand, kind of run down the front of your shin and really find where it's tender, and that's typically where the area of injury is at. But instead of just putting an ice pack on it, the thing that I suggest you do is to do what they call ice cup massage. And literally all you need to do is go buy those little Dixie cups that you got when you were in preschool, fill them with water, stick them in your freezer, freeze them, take them off, tear the top off, flip it upside down, and rub up and down the front of your shin for about 3 to 4 minutes. That is a deep penetrating type of ice which will really help to decrease inflammation. The second thing that you may want to consider doing is taking some over-the-counter sort of medication like ibuprofen, something that's going to help decrease inflammation. In the natural healing world, we give you lots of turmeric, which will also help decrease whole body inflammation as well. Now, in addition to that, I highly suggest that you start to actually stretch and massage over the tibialis anterior muscle. You actually want to start on the outside of the muscle belly and work your way back in, because that is the way that the injury occurred. It actually went inside to out, so you want to go outside to in. The second thing that you should do is you should apply some sort of compression to the area. Now, a lot of times people will wear like compression sleeves. I think there's even special types of compression sleeves that you can buy. And that helps to hold all of those muscles a little bit tighter as well. Number 3, look at your feet. If you are a flat-footed person, or a person that has what we call pes planus, you want to make sure that you are wearing a shoe that is supportive, especially supportive when you're out doing physical activity like running, hiking, or jogging. So make sure you have a shoe that provides enough support. Also, one thing about this is this. People ask me all the time, but how long does a typical pair of shoes last? And honestly, guys, it's 300 miles or about 3 months of usage every single day. So if you're just dusting off your old tennies after the beginning of the year and trying to get back to it, and those guys are old, it's definitely time that you replace your shoes and make sure you have good arch support with those. A lot of times people will look at what they call a motion control shoe, which actually limits the amount of motion or pronation in the lower portion of the foot. And the reason that that's important is because the tibialis anterior comes right over the top and actually inserts, as you can see here, if I can flip this guy around, it actually inserts right there in the actual arch of the foot on the first metatarsal. So it's really important, guys, that you do what? Number 1, you support the area with a compression, or you can also use kinesio tape. And the way to kinesio tape it is that you put tape on the bottom portion of that muscle, of that tibialis anterior, run it upwards to the top, up towards the shin bone, and then from the outside over the top of the shin bone, over the top, right through the area that is affected. That's the way you want to use your kinesio tape. All right, so to quickly recap here, but what is shin splints? Really what it is an aggravation to a muscle called your tibialis anterior. What do I do about it? Well, you definitely want to take a few days off and rest. You want to ice it down using an ice cup massage. Then you want to support it with either using kinesio tape or some sort of compression sleeve, like an Under Armour sleeve that helps keep it all compressed. And then you protect it by changing your footwear, making sure that you're wearing good arches. And then lastly, really make sure that you stretch really good using massage and stretching techniques before and after your exercise. Hey guys, for all of you guys that are getting back into shape, I'm so proud of you at the beginning of this year. But a lot of these little nagging injuries will start to pop up. So make sure you get checked by your health practitioner, you get checked by your sports chiropractor. And as always, guys, I'm here for you. Thank you so much for all of these questions. And as always, if you have questions, ask me below in the comments and I'll do my best to get back to you. Have a great one.